So this is going to be a tutorial for low percent updated for current strats and not allowing the extra ability from invisible button. So assuming that you're completely new to this and you're starting on low percent instead of any percent, God have mercy on your soul. This is the better run though. So just things to know. Um, if you're coming into this blind, we officially start timing on not this part, but so time starts the moment that you input any key for her to pull. So you'll literally hit your start timer right when you pull out. I'm not going to have a timer running just to make this super simple. And there we go. So time. Alright. First thing you do, try and keep your lines clean. This game has a bad habit of resetting your control settings. Instant fire on is super useful. Some other people end up using like interact with a mouse wheel scroll with a free scrolling mouse. I don't because my mouse is bad, but you know, those are some other options. Find what works for you. This game is mouse is required at some points, controllers are required at some points. You'll have to figure out how best to do the control scheme, and that's where a lot of the personality comes in. So first fight is going to be this process right here. It's just a simple, sorry, if I actually get it right, fraud. But yeah, it's just a simple 1-2 in all phases. So the first one, you'll wake him up with crash and then crash breach. To break him again, crash breach. Try to collect him right next to the pillars here. That way you'll be able to walk up as they come through. It'll save you a second from having to re-break them. Door for the breakpoint, just go up to activate it. You're going to go into the tutorial. Make sure that you have this corner between you and the process. If you're out here when you activate it, he's going to fire a laser and push you slightly further away. So you'll feel out where that spacing is, but it'll end up saving you a half a step. You know, 1/10 of a second here, 1/10 of a second there. So here you're on cooldown. I always like to go to the one that's low and then line up so I get the double shot. And the last one, there you go. Quick little execution test, and you're ready to move on. Also, fun door. Sometimes she ends up wanting to hit it twice. I think it's a play based off of where you are on the door. I don't know. It loses you a 1/10 of a second. It's annoying when it happens. Just know that there's something weird with that door that makes it so there's a longer animation. Alright, and the beginning of actual low percent. So here I try to go for the 1-2. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Just end up killing him as fast as possible, and then you're going to want to make sure that you're in the lower half of the map as you're killing these process off. So it's going to play the victory, and you're going to just spam turn on your spacebar. What's going to happen is you're going to go into turn, immediately get pulled out, and that's going to activate the first walk-through walls glitch. Alright, so you go up to talk to Platt, they're going to give you Spark, and then you're going to go into turn and walk out here. I do 2 little twitches to the side to get myself lined up better with the zips, and go all the way to the outside, and then you just gotta have to feel out where the zips are. Then if you go up and line yourself up with this part of the bar here, just go straight up, and then you're looking for this little seam right here. From there, go into turn, cut the angle. I break out of turn as soon as I see this guy, then zip up again. Then you just sit on the breakpoint, pause, go in and grab both breakpoints, go through the wall. That little squiggle gets you right up to Moyle. And then, there you go. Now you've got Jaunt. So if you end up doing that, you can walk during the whole cutscene. You get yourself all the way back out here, back through walls again, and then you're just gonna spam jaunt until you hit the next invisible wall. If you go almost exactly straight, maybe a little bit on the up, you'll end up getting the lineup perfect. You'll know how if you've got the right height based off of this off-screen door. Like, I'm a little bit too high. As long as you got like a little bit of that green showing through, you got the right height. But yeah, as soon as you bump into the wall here, I do the perfect little 45 diagonal with A and S. Go until it runs out. And then there will be a zip right to here. And then you go and you hit your bike. And you're good. I do like 10 splits. All of them are screen transitions, just so that I can hit both at the same time. You could do more or less. It just depends upon how you want to split your file up. Let's see. Good times for Bay is like a 330. You get it lower than that, then you're probably doing better than me, which isn't hard, honestly. My movement is super bad. Now my cat is deciding that she wants to play with me since she saw a bottle cap. Kitty cat on my tutorial stream. Come here, girl. Can't be in front of the camera, that's my job. I mean, you can be in front of the camera, but we gotta share it. Also, you need to stop picking at that. That is never gonna heal if you keep licking it. Please don't nuzzle the mic. Alright, so when you get in here, you're going to want to immediately dash. I find that dashing while holding down the click ends up leading to Red taking extra steps and leads to her moving just slightly faster. When you get down to this bush here, right in this little causeway, you're going to dash down into it. Let's see, didn't even know I could go across that. Dash across here, get up to this one. I aim for the corner right here on this pole, and then just slightly to the left of this bush to get me onto that. Hold up until I hit the wall, the tip of this leaf, and then the corner of this little thing on the floor. All of that will make sure that you skip that fight. You might find some places that work better. That's up to you. I personally menu here for the Sybil fight. The best thing that we found is doing crash on Spark and no other changes. And the fast menu for that is open menu, hit R once, hit enter. Make sure that your mouse is not over anything else. If your mouse is over top of one of these guys and you hit enter, then you'll switch to them. So you want to make sure that it's either on crash or nowhere. But you hit enter, right, enter, exit. So again, that was R, making sure your mouse is on neutral, enter, right, enter, exit, or escape, and that'll be your fast menu. Now, for the first technical bit. So, you're going to want to click on to Gold Walk Channel, so you've got the queued up tab here. As long as it says queued up, you're good. You can be anywhere. I mean, obviously you want to reduce as much movement during turn, so you want to be as close as possible, but you'll end up going into turn, walk up to it, and you want to grind a little bit, not too much, but like, you see that little bit of slide sideways I have there? That's perfect. That'll make sure that the game is like, okay, Red definitely got here, we definitely need to use that door. Oh wait, she's gone away. You'll dash away once, twice, 3 times, and then try to get behind this barrier. Yet again, the Creep 2.0 will come out, he'll try and push you back, and when he does try to push you back, yeah, if he gets that laser off while you do the transition, it can end up soft locking you because Red will be pushed back continuously, after she does the transition. It's the weirdest thing. So like I said, just try and land behind there, but it should only be 3 jaunts to get in. Alright, got the door storage right. Here you're going to dash and bonk the wall, and then dash one more time to get around it. If you move it all there, you'll trigger the fight. If you dash improperly to right about here, you'll trigger the fight. So like I said, the wall bonk and then one past is how you make sure that the jerk doesn't wake up. Alright, so now the OVC terminal, this is going to be the same as the door. You get listed as queued up, turn. I just dash into it once, a little bit of squiggle against it, and you're going to dash back. Here, you're going to want to walk against the wall to make sure that you just barely walk into the fight. If you dash in, it will end. There's a weird property where when fights start, if you dash into them, you get moved into the fight. Instead, you want to walk in so that you're still on the outer boundaries when this fight area draws. So you can't see it behind the screen, but the jerk is waking up now. He's going to push you while dealing damage. And you're just looking for across the top here for the bar to see when you've gone into death storage. So from there, dash once away, up and to the right twice, and once up. This will make it so that you do that U shape around the channel. You'll come out, and if you've got your position right, it should just be a hold left while spamming E, and I think I missed the angle. So, there we go. Yeah, so you just hold up and left, maybe just hold left, and then tap your U's. You'll get a feel for it after a couple of attempts. So if you did everything right, you're going to have the menu up here, and it's going to be semi-translucent, and that'll be the best case. Watch out where you click on the screen. If you click in the wrong place, you'll get the more info, and it'll refresh the menu, and that'll suck. So you'll get to the pass-through. You'll want to be moused over sign out, unless if you are more skilled than I am with like escape or something. But you're going to hit E, and then as soon as you do that, you hit sign out so that you can immediately go into turn. So the order on this is going to be E to use it, click sign out, go into turn, come out of turn. Now, you can come out of turn anywhere in the pass-through. I have never actually seen it flip up like that. Guess I ended up stalling for too long. But yeah, you're going to want to come out probably right at the end of it. So going into turn late in the transition is best, because it'll waste the least frames. So that should be good. And now I'm not 100% certain that I got it right. Yeah. So you can see now I can walk over the water section. And it's all about when you release it. Of course, you'd be dashing through there, though there are problems where if you jaunt into the transition, into the fight, they'll take away your movement. But yeah. Also, fun fact about the walk through walls, jaunt still will clank with wall collision. Jaunt will never forget where walls are. So that's always something to remember. Like, if you get up to it and you're like, I can't leave the fight area, just, check to see if you can walk through it. And then you are out of amphitheater, or out of gold block and into stage. I definitely need to actually make a split at stage so I can see how my civils are going compared to my gold walks instead of having a 7-minute split there, but I'm bad. Alright, so here, just some quick movement tech up. Now, you get down into here, and this is where I say a controller is necessary. Getting the timing on this is a pain in the butt to start with. So, you'll get right over this lamp, and then you'll dash once down. That's going to put you out of bounds. Now, personally, I hold down and left until this is over here, like this little piece right here is parallel with the wall. Down and right. And basically about the time the second lamp is open, I just hold straight right. If you saw right there, it's slowed down for a tick and then it sped up. That was me getting caught by a diagonal like this and then getting into the free area. Once you get past that drag, you're going to want to have your controller on hand. so that you can end up doing weird controller movement. Now, whenever you are using mouse and keyboard, if you jaunt, it's going to go towards your mouse cursor. However, if you jaunt on a controller, it will always go whatever your last directional input was. So in this case, we're just going to hold to the right and then jaunt across here, all the way up until you feel that bonk, and then hold right. Personally, once it gets parallel with the wall and it stops scrolling, I hold up and right, and I just wait. I think there's some slightly more optimal movement with holding just right, because I think it'll go slower with the up and right input, but this at least works. So we go on for a bit, and the moment that it starts scrolling, hold just up and start jaunting. And now, as soon as you see OVC terminal show up, hold up and right. So as soon as he says everyone loved you, you go up. And whenever it says everyone except for them, go left. So the way that works is OVC terminal up and right, wait for the voiceover for everyone loved you, and then hold just up. Everyone except for them, hold just straight left. And if you do that all the way through, you'll end up getting zipped into the humming cutscene. This one will take practice, and this is one of those places where I got bricked for a while. Also, alternatively, you can do a jaunt straight up on controller, then a jaunt straight left as soon as he said everyone loved you. Timing's a little bit more specific on that, but you'll be able to feel that out. So press and hold the hum. I personally find that the game does not like hum unless if I wait for the information box to show up. Maybe there's some slightly better tech. And make sure you mash click here, because if you do not click, the cutscene does not start, and you can sit there wasting precious seconds. And this is 1 minute and 10 seconds. Great time to refill your water. Actually, I think it's 1 minute 11. But yeah. The one thing I will say about this is all the way up till Sybil is just straight movement execution and is really easy. But unfortunately, it's still like 12, or it's like a third of the run. So you will get to Sybil with a lot of resets. Here, just try and get as clean a lines as you can. Controller will be most optimal for getting the angle right, but I am a baddie who likes to click places. Mostly because controller is like an 8-way run. Mouse tries to do like an 8-way, like it tries to lock you in on those. But controller seems to actually be full 360 movement. Get up to him, spam interact, move on. So for Sybil, I don't have a good quick kill, and I will gladly take any suggestions on how to lab this out. First things to note, Sybil can be woken up with abilities, so you're going to end up hitting your spark on her, the one that you ended up linking to Crash earlier to wake her up. And now, optimally, you're going to try and hit her with 2 sparks. As soon as you do that, you're going to go to turn, dash behind her, crash, spark, spark. Spark, breach. And that should put her at that -50. If you don't go fast enough, she will get a dash off while you're attacking her, and you're going to end up being in an extra cycle for phase 1. That being said, though, she's fairly consistent as long as you're sure of your movements. You're going to want to come down all the way to the bottom right corner and take out any of these, and then just spark spam at her. If you can avoid her 2 hits, it will help you with some routing later on. If not, I have backups for that. When she goes to run away, because you got her below 300, you'll just go into turn and hit her with a double breach, and that should push her. Now you pray that there are no cheerleaders nearby. Obviously, I got cheerleaders because never lucky. At this point, it's going to be a clear out the cheerleaders as much as you can, or as quickly as you can. Pray to God the creep doesn't show up, and pound into Sybil after the fact. So for this, I would just like do that and then try and line up behind both of them. And of course, one of them wants to be a butt and a half. So I end up just spamming into her as much as I can, and I take the emergency turn on purpose, dash behind her, and do the whole spark breach with the backstab, and that's going to do about 500. She should finish her charges at me, and with that she's going to break me if she does, which I'm then going to end up using as a chance to fully refill, pound her down to below 300. Once she's at 300, go into turn, and 5 sparks to finish her off. There are other strats where you don't let her break you. Katarev ends up using those, but Katarev gets lucky and doesn't end up having to deal with other stuff. Make sure that you immediately spark and interact, and you're then done with Sybil. By the way, you can take one step during that. I start spamming, or have my mouse in the right direction and start hitting both my jaunt and my intro key to get through it quickly. If you did take the break, you're just going to use this access point real quick. So it'll be use to escape, and that'll get you your bounce where your breach was. And then get down to the PWC and split. So, but yeah, that intentional hit in order to get the 500 to set everything up feels better. If you didn't take that damage, you would ignore that menu and just set up bounce onto breach. Probably at the fetch save. But yeah. Which I'll have to do the exact opposite anyway in a bit here. Set up a breach onto bounce. And you just want those linked because you're going to turn both of them off at the same time when you get when you end up getting load after jerk 3. Alright, so here just immediately spam into and out of turn because there's a 2-second time save of skipping the voiceover as you go in. And then immediately move on. Archway, you're going to do the exact same thing. If you don't get the time right, you will not be able to clip through the walls, and it sucks. And I didn't get it. Big reset point, because I've definitely lost up to 30 seconds. Yeah. So, see there, I got it. Like I said, you have to just get in and out on the right frame. It sucks. Then from here, you can jaunt straight through everything. Alright, and then canals and move on. And I will be right back. Alright. Alright, so canals 2. So you're going to go ahead and hug this wall on the right here. As you get right into this section of light, you're going to jaunt, aiming for these, or the shade right over here. As long as you get that right, you'll get into combat without the area drawing up. And then from there, it's just a quick couple of jaunts around. Make sure that the white pillars come up before you move on. If you don't, you will create another area and get yourself trapped in. Come to here, and then it's just spark spam to kill out the clubbers. If you end up making the bad cells across the bridge, then you will have to fight them. It wastes time, but it won't, at least it won't brick the route. So from here, you're going to have to go and do another death to escape the OVC storage. I usually end up trying to take a little bit of damage off of the cluckers and get down to about half. Quick little OVC disjoint here to drag it into the middle of these two weeds. And then you'll get bombed. And then this is just going to be something you have to feel out. So you're in OVC, you want to get out safely. Couple of jaunts this way, couple of jaunts that way. Still going to mess that up. And then just get back across the bridge. Alright. So that's pretty smooth. You just end up jaunting back along. Pretty much not able to brick it right now. Up top here, you can only walk, so walk along. And then get ready with the terminal close. So the South Frustum Road here, you're going to click, and as it's going zooming you down, it'll be a sign out and just spam turn. And down we go. And there we go. So here you can walk through walls. Yet again, be conscious of where you'll bonk. And you get that angle right. And there you go. You're on to the elevators. Alright. So, favorite auto-scroller time. So, the first piece is going to drop right here in the shadow. You'll get used to where everything goes and how it all spawns. But basically, standing right here and spamming Spark is pretty much your best bet. Mostly because you want to hit that first weed. I personally go through and take out all the weeds. And then go after the creeps. And that just seems like it works the best. And then you're onto the snapshot. You can keep them stun locked. They'll do less damage. You can get them to go the exact right way too. It's even better. Which I'm actually going to have to try and incorporate now. Alright, and now we are on to the first save disjoint. So you get out of there. This is literally just to despawn the 4 weeds. You do not have to do this. If you're having problems with it, you can drop this part from the run, but I find that it, on average, saves about 2 seconds. Oh, so at this point, you'll want to go ahead and move your breach back on top of your bounce, just so that they're together, because you're going to do a couple more of these save quit resets, and you don't want that extra menu to pop up each time. So it'll save you just a little bit of time. So then you'll immediately hit escape, hit retry. You'll be in the middle of the fight, and there'll be nothing. Clear those out so they don't get in your way, and then just spam. When you see them on 150, just hit bounce instead, because it'll do more damage. And you'll also dash slightly forward, so if he doesn't bark at the exact right time, you'll end up picking up the cell. Alright, so for the gondola, same thing, get it all queued up, go into turn, go up and just rub on it a little bit. And now one of the hardest blind movements in here. The only thing I'm going to tell you is just look at where I'm going compared to where the lights are. It's really hard to explain, but like the light drop shadows kind of tell you where to go. You just want to end up somewhere in this vicinity. You'll have some movement to get yourself to the save point. And it's just up to feeling around in the dark So as long as you saw that elevator rumble, you know you're good. More importantly, you'll know you're good as you start going up into the sky. And then just make a hard run for it as you see that you're getting lifted up. Run in, hit the U's to get the save, escape, escape, retry, and you're good. So there's the elevator set up so that the sword doesn't break so that you can skip spine. If you want to know the reasoning for that, there's a flag that gets put into the game, and literally, if you get past spine without killing him, then your game hard locks. So right here, you're just going to hug this wall, and as soon as you hear that draw sound, that means you got into the fight and you're good. So you're just going to jaunt here for 5 years. Go down the stairs. When you get to this landing here, if you go up to this corner and aim for the circle, you'll be able to go ahead and shortcut a little bit of area. And then just keep jaunting like you got somewhere to go. Alright. Now up to spine. Spine is super easy to do, but super hard to do perfectly. Also, you can hum in the elevator while you're waiting. Only time you can in the entire game without losing time. So you're going to jaunt along here, and when you get to the gazebo, you're going to jaunt straight across. I usually use this dot as my guide. Go down here, and when I get to about this part, I go ahead and go to turn and jaunt into the jerk. The reason that you want to get to the jerk is going to pulse and give you 1 to 2 damage. And the reason for that you want that is because you need 4 spine hits plus just a little bit more to kill yourself. So the jerk is going to give you that little bit more. And then you're going to pick up all the cells and then start dashing back. Somewhere right around here, you're going to take another spine hit. And I'm actually not sure if I'm too low. You take another one right there, and with perfect movement, you'd get to the OVC terminal before the last hit. Yeah, I could have taken that other hit and been fine. But the goal is to take only 4 hits, so the one that originally comes down, then the other 3. And that's the 0 cycle, and it's really hard to get. So now that we've taken the last hit, we're in turn. Our goal is to move to that little shack that was right next to us. And then we have to redo the entire area basically blind. So you'll come out of turn, go to the door, and see if I can't find it, hit E. And then you just kind of have to feel your way along. When you get here, don't get hit. Hold right to get yourself into that corner, and then you'll just be able to dash pretty much anywhere to the right to get by. Here, there's some weird stuff with the auto pathing and trying to get over the walls. You might get hit occasionally. Now, the greenhouse, I'm going to get hit intentionally here. Come out of that. So, all the way in this corner, and then all the way up in this corner. You want to be somewhere right in the middle to go through. So just use, sign out, and then turn twice. And of course, wait until you get out of the complete movement before you unturn. So from here, you're going up and slightly to the left. I personally align my mouse just over the 2 on my bounce, and that gets me a slight angle without over pushing me. If you go too far to the left, there's a couple of triggers involving the tail, I think right by those stairs actually, that ends up pushing the fight sequence to where you don't want to go. As soon as you see this gigantic swath of color, that's when you can go at more of a 45. And as soon as you see this outer seam, that's when you're just going to go straight vertical again. So getting those angles takes a little bit of practice. I'm still bad at them, considering that you saw how quickly I turned and got aligned with it. Now, on top of the concourse, I personally like to click right here on this dot and go a little bit left and down. So Red's glowing part of the sword will be right in there. The reason for that is if she goes too far to the left in her auto pathing, she's going to trigger the spine, and that's going to pretty much brick the run. So, also, you're going to be playing in Chinese for this. I click where the Tabraka Tower's concourse meets the doors, like that little intersection right there, and that usually works out for me. And of course it didn't today. So I'm going to go ahead and get that right, and I'm going to cut footage and splice it back together so you don't have to sit through my 2 minutes of failure. BRB. So we're back over here, and watch me have to go ahead and scrap this again. And yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like if you do it successfully. But that's a 2-minute time loss every single time that you brick it. So for this next section coming up, fun new GDQ practice room. As soon as you go through, dash like a madman off into the distance here. As long as you end up somewhere around here, you're good. If you fail, then when you go to the next clearance check, you'll have a chance to do it again. So you dash once to get up here, once more to hit this, into turn and out, and that unlocks the camera. Don't know why, need to find out. Then you'll dash up to this clearance check, go through, and that just saves you an OVC terminal. It's like a 12-second time save there. Here, get these perfect dashes, and, you know, may God have mercy on your soul when you're learning this, because you will bonk so many times on the stairs, because Red's hitbox is huge and also goes above where the cursor says. Also, just as a general rule, the cursor is more of like a guide. Like, it's like, basically, the cursor goes somewhere like this whenever you're targeting. Like, it's the bottom of what would be Red's drop shadow if she had one, rather than the center like you would think it would be. Which leads to weird things where that's kind of okay, but this is gonna bonk you. Yeah, like that will bonk you. That'll still bonk you. That won't. But you'll get used to them with the stairs. It just takes a bit. Alright, so another one of those save disjoints, get it queued up. And the way that these save disjoints work, which I probably should have said on the first one, basically the moment that the save would drop down distance-wise is the exact distance of a jaunt, it seems. So what you want to do is have it queued up, and the moment, and just slowly back out until it drops down, which that one was framed too early. There we go. So you saw it was coming down right as I go in. That'll be the perfect distance and shouldn't soft lock me. You dash over top of it, up to those stairs from before, into the fight, and you just have to get about halfway past that barrier to trigger the fight. So as long as you see that saving in the bottom left corner, you know you have it. The fight starts, you retry, the fight's gone. So from there, you've now got a combat glitch state, so you're good to go from that. And you're going to end up going through this fight, or going through to activate the switch. Pretty simple, ignore them. When you get to the bottom of the stairs, you just need to make sure that you jaunt from the stairs past this yellow bar, and that'll keep this fight over here from spawning. Go across here, hit this security terminal. Fun fact about this terminal, you don't actually have to hit details, anything. You can hit escape immediately, and you'll be good to go. Go back the same way, make sure you make the jaunt again, and then the fun part. So from here, we're going to be dragging a snapshot with us to the terminals that we passed earlier. Now, all of these different snapshots have different behaviors, but there's going to be one of them whose job is to be directly on top of you. And then one who wants to be slightly away. And it's one of these two. So you want to get them following you. And as long as you go fast enough, one of them will get lost at the top of the stairs, while the one who really wants to sniff Red's hair or whatever will follow you super hard. You'll get him to this terminal, make sure that he doesn't get caught anything, and then use it. And depending upon your brightness settings, when he does kill you, because like he is being all sorts of crazy right now. You can just barely see Red and the snapshot here. So this becomes one of the most technical parts of the run. So from here we need to jaunt to the stairs, off of the stairs, which that wasn't off of them, up along this way, onto those next stairs, and then out. Generally speaking, something like one jaunt left will be safe, because the one at the top of the stairs might have followed you more than you thought, and if you take a stray bullet, you're bricked. So you do have to jaunt past that section because there's a fight that will activate from having used the OVC, and oh good god, it wanted me. So that was just me dodging for my life, because the other snapshot decided, oh hey, I'm gonna get you, came down and sent a barrage at me. But yeah. So I'm still safe right now, but it's kind of dicey. Yeah, you can even see his name right there. So here we end up going back up those stairs, around the way. I am kind of lost because I never do it this early in. And I really don't like where I'm landing. I should be right at the top of the stairs with where I'm landing at. So, yeah. Then you gotta get that jaunt across the stairs again, back across, and then use the gondola to go down. You will brick your runs there. You will have splits that take 20, 30 minutes. It's okay. It happens to everybody who learns this category. Hence why so few people learn this category. From here, just go across, go into maintenance wing. So at this point, you're going to hit play, and you're going to be set up on this launcher. You're going to move into the launcher, use it, sign out, hit turn. So use sign out, slam turn, and don't have that happen to you. And we'll be right back because we now have to take a 3-minute time loss to undo all of that. BRB. And we're back. Okay, so the way that this is actually supposed to look is like that. If your computer's slow or lags like mine does, you'll have issues, but a decent machine won't be a problem. At any rate, head over to the left, get to these lights, and you can just follow the trail straight up. And OVC terminal, spam escape out, and gondola to go back down. And there you go, that's both of the concourse parts unlocked with no fights. Excuse me while my hand forgets what it's doing. Alright. Quick little safety save before we end up doing the save disjoint into the fight. And then exit out, retry. And that skips that entire fight. Now, when you're going to activate this door, you're going to want to dash off to the side. If you do that, it'll let you activate the door without, any problems. If you go straight up through them, of course, now they're not going to cooperate. Let's see. Let me actually see if I can get this to mess up real quick. There you go. So if you dash and you land too close to them or start too close to them, it'll start combat, which can get you hit with one of those knockbacks right as you go through and put you in a permanent slide when you're on the elevator. In this case, yeah, I didn't break there, but going off to the side is just the safer one. If you end up in that infinite slide, it's just a quick retry, but you know. Here, you got nothing to do except to just spam your flourish. Because why not? Also, if you get lucky and you get out of combat, you can end up hitting that save point. Most of the time you don't, it ends up wanting to wait till you're halfway across the little bridge area. But if you do hit the save point, I think that you can retry fast enough. And retries will get you access sorry, to your jaunt sooner. Like, as soon as you retry, jaunts become unlocked even if the room wanted it to be locked out. So that's like a 1-second time save if you get lucky with it. OVC here and escape out of it. And then if you get over to Grant fast enough, he won't actually talk at you. Asher's gonna do his whole thing. And then for ultimate swag strats, you can spam turn out of this and get set up on the little process cage up there. And if you do it just fast enough, tick tick, and you can go right there. I usually wait for the second tick. It feels like it saves a second. It might not save anything. It might just be swag, but I like it, so it's fun. Alright, then cutscene. Because we didn't have enough of those already. Sleepy cat. So at this point, your next, the next fight's gonna be that fetch with the, two, weeds. You're just gonna want to immediately dash down and to the right. And this will make it so that you're out of range of the fetch so that he won't immediately jump you, so you can set up on the weeds first. So. Alright. So, like I was saying... immediately down here, and then the fetch doesn't see you. You can also space those a little bit better so that yeah, that wasn't good. Ideally, what you'll want to do is hit him with 2 sparks so he's below 500, and then go into turn and dash behind him and then do a triple bounce. Oh sweet, I got the... Alright. So you can't jaunt in this hallway, they take away your ability. If you are directly on the edge there, you'll be able to get 1 jaunt off, then go into turn. And if you're right on the edge to start with, your camera will be unlocked. If you're not, then you'll only be able to go to the corner. But if you decide to do the turn jaunts, you have to do it as fast as possible. I'm going to do a safety save right here. It's one of those that only if you're really comfortable should you go for it, because even though it looks like it's going to be a time save, it's usually not, because going into turn. So this skip. So there's these 3 little notch marks right here. You get your sword aligned with a 3rd one, and then there are some strats that aim for certain parts of Red's poster. I don't do that one because I'm inconsistent at it. Instead, I just go into turn and then line up my orange through the dot here. And yeah, I can see based off of how deep Red gets on the wall that I'm good. And then from there, we just jaunt out of this fight. Right around here, they're going to take away my ability to jaunt, so I need to start immediately clicking. And they're going to get back right at that spark. And then we're through to Gold Walk. Fast jaunts through. Try not to take too much ticking damage from the weeds. You're going to need that later on for the next fight. Hit that pass through. On the left side here, this building right here, you're just going to come in through the back of it and jaunt across. and that'll let you get into this area without the trigger. You can walk back behind here, you can jaunt back across here, get to this area here, 1 spark, and then dash across. And then heaven have mercy on your soul, cause man fight. Spark, 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 spark. You can spark him down. You could also end up doing some spark bounce strats. The problem is that's stealthy. It's probably going to be best to get him, like, I want to say probably to 300 and go for a double bounce. And that's fine if you get broken. Don't, but if you do, it doesn't hurt. That's just gonna mess with my menuing, isn't it? Actually, that really does mess with my menuing. Oh well. I've got backups. Alright. So this is gonna be annoying. Alright. I'll have to do a whole thing. So at any rate, normally you just come down to the courtyard, jump across here, 2 quick dashes, and you're done through here. You would not use this access point normally, but I just wanted to go ahead and recover this, so I have the menuing right. Okay. So Jerk will pull you off when you get into this, and I personally think that the best strat is to just straight spark spam until he's below 500, then just turn, jaunt, bounce, bounce, bounce. Also, always do the 3rd bounce because the system will say that he'll die in 2. He never will. And then make sure you pick up load. Alright. So, you're going to be coming back up for those snapshots because they're worth 10 experience as opposed to the mans that are worth 20. Safety save. Alright, so this is another one of those save disjoints. So, you're going to end up disjointing onto this guy. Come down around here. Watching out for the wall that's completely invisible right here, because bonking on that's annoying. There we go. And then you'll fire a blind bounce up into them with this. So we got the save. Bring everything around, and then you're going to hit R to pull off your bounce breach or breach bounce if you ended up doing Deathless Sybil. Put load on 2, breach on 2, bounce on 1. I think that actually the optimal movement would be, so if this is the original, it'd be like, yeah, so undo and then to 1, 2, 2. But that's if you want to get super fancy and save yourself a couple of inputs. So from there, you'll double exit, hit retry, and you'll be good to go. Pop down your 2 loads, pop all of that, and then kill that snapshot. So you're going to want to collect 4, leave 1 up. While that one's respawning, you'll come down here and pop 2 loads in here, and then blow them up, and that's just for your pathing since you had nothing to do for 10 seconds. And then you're just going to have to tether the snapshot and just get used to what its pull range is. If you can take any damage here, do. Getting the snapshot to behave is really hard. And then at some point you're going to want to swap behind it so that you can be on this side. Once you have him in a spot where he'll shoot you and you can use the terminal, set up your packets somewhere that it'll be right next to him, and then use the terminal. If for some reason he stops shooting at you, you can leave and re-enter this terminal. It might brick, but it usually doesn't. Once it goes into turn, spark so that you know that you're hitting him and the packet, then jaunt somewhere out of the way because there will be more bullets coming behind the one that put you into turn, so you do need to move in some capacity. And then if you end up jaunting too far away, move back over to collect the cell. But if you see the red back there, then you know you're good. So now you just blindly move to this door here, hit go up, sign out, and then just try to make sure you hit this turn as late as possible. See, that was still a little bit too early, but yeah. So we're up here and it's good. So now you're going to bring out your hand-to-dandy controller, and this is just another down and left while spamming jaunt. You're going to do this until... Alright, so you saw how the screen just locked? I do one more down and left, and then from there I spam down jaunts. And as long as you zipped down here, you're good. You will get lost on occasion. Just feel out what works for you. But red has to get somewhere around the edge of this, and one more jaunt will get you into the Royce area. So from there, you'll end up getting to the override. You'll be in Chinese, preferably, simply because this text takes forever to populate. And you can save a second or two. Authorize sign out. Also, do not hit turn. Do not jaunt coming out of that. Don't do anything, because you can brick your game right there. Move into Fairview, and split if you're going to split. Also, bread is good. Bread in the tutorial video. Let's go. ASMR tutorial. Alright, so Fairview is mostly just good movement tech since there's so few fights. Up, back down, jaunting along, jaunting into a wall because we're good at movement tech. Yay. This is why you're second place enough. Knowing the angles here. Get your mouse in position for when you land so you can immediately jaunt to the current. Take it. Alright. So, to explain this real quick. First thing you'll want to do is jaunt up. They're going to have both their haircuts down. You're going to spark to hit both haircuts and pop them. And then you're going to go for stealthy. The reason that you're going to the stealthy one is whoever you're closest to is who will de-stealth first. So you'll see me jaunt over, pop them both, and then I'm going to be laying loads on top of stealthy while I try to make sure that I'm closest to him as opposed to, Shooty I think is the other one? So let's just go ahead and see how that looks. Ow. Not good. That's how it looks. So you're trying to get out that second one right before he appears. If you do it right, then you're going to be able to, massively reduce the amount of time that the fight takes. And then Shooty will be vulnerable since he won't have the stealth because stealthy guys are Garbo. Another save disjoint, which I think I've got right this time. I do not. So you have to get 2 jaunts off before the save goes off. Oh, am I in combat? Oh, well, I'm fine then. Go figure. I wonder if that means something. Generally speaking, you have to get it up here. I've never gotten the single jaunt disjoint and it works. But hey, look at that. So, yeah, make sure that you end up getting your disjoint proper. If you saw my GDQ run, you saw me mess that up way too many times. 13 retries total. Whew, I think I just spent $30 on charity because of that one trick I messed up. Alright. Safety save here in case this fight looks terrible. I actually can't safety save because I'm still in combat from the last room. Go me. Alright. So here, first thing you want to do is a load on top of the display here. Then you're going to want to pop the one that's coming at you. Then Speedy over here, you're going to want to hit him with another load spark if you can. And now I'm already popped, because of course I am. This fight just honestly goes off the rails way too often with me. It usually turns into me just chasing things down with Spark. If you've gotten here, you'll figure out a way to kill things with packets and sparks. I also think that the RNG is not completely random, so there might be a deterministic way to do that fight, but somebody will have to route that out who has more patience and better execution than me. Alright, so here we're just on the final approach. And this is just clean movement to get through the rest of everything. Hopping to this island and then to the current, it's just faster than walking around. Here, you just jaunt up and then across this wall and you'll skip that fight. Also, jaunting across that is impossible. Safety saves are good here, but just make sure you don't click the proxy and drop your world record, has happened before. Another current flip. Alright, and then the last fight skip. Watch me somehow miss this. So there's that little corner there, you're going to want to go just past it, and then go right and then down, and this will get you caught in this corner. And then this triangle right here, you're going to just dash for the corner of it, and then you're going to just dash somewhere out into the void over here. That corner part though, the aiming for that guy, is the most important part of getting that skip. Once you get into here, you're pretty much home free. Another safety save. And another save disjoint. You're gonna do a couple, let's see, feel it out. Yeah. So it's like almost straight right, and then one of them has to be just that slight down angle. As soon as you see this red, then you're just going straight for red. And like you can see now with the map there, that one's a little bit hard to find blind, but you get used to it after a while. And then just reach at the set, and that gets you past all of Royce's cutscene. Learning where these guys are in the dark isn't too hard. You just learn where the white lines equal the actual outline of the catwalk. Try and dash as cleanly as you can through all this. And then hit that cradle, and time for RNG! So for Royce, the fastest setup that I have found has been Breach with Jaunt, which lets you use Breach when turn is recharging. Bounce with Load, which supposedly makes Bounce do more damage, up to 10% more, but I don't think that up to actually applies. Somebody prove me wrong or figure out exactly when it's supposed to say 110, because it never does. And then Spark with Crash for your normal crash damage application. Royce has a couple different patterns that he'll use in each phase, and each one requires specific ways to respond to move anything fast. There's only one piece of tech that I can really teach. Well, there's a couple of things. There's intentionally taking breaks to instantly recharge, and there is the barrier that lets you exploit him in phase 2. But this is a great place to optimize the run. For the record, coming out of this, yeah, so leaving this into Royce dying, the best time I have seen has been a 150. So a minute and 50 seconds from confirming that this is what you want to Royce evaporating. So, but yeah, like I said, Breach with Jaunt, so it'll be usable during turn. Bounce with Load for the bonus damage, and then Spark with Crash to be able to do crash applications easily. So you have a little bit of movement while he's going. Use that to make sure that if he has gotten behind you, that he's not getting back attack damage. And then just start to watch his movements. If he ends up doing the dash through, then you're going to want to do the spark at him. If he does the runaway, you're going to want to do the double breach. You get him to this point, and it'll just be... So this was the double breach pattern. Here, we're just going to do spark, and then 3 bounces. And then this is just going to be 2 more breaches to push phase. Yeah. And if I had gotten 1 more off, it would have been good. If I had tried for like 1 other attack. Alright. So here, I'm going to want to go in and do that. Alright. So the reason that I'm not doing full damage is right here between these 2 dots is a weird barrier that eats bounce inputs. So you want to be behind this, because Royce doesn't realize this barrier exists, which you can use to your advantage so that he'll waste a turn and not hit you. So here he's going to do get sparked, double bounce, because I had bad luck, and I think he's too close to the barrier, so I don't think I'm going to end up getting the protection from it. Nah. Nope. Of course, while you're waiting for anything to recharge, just always try and use that breach. Alright. So here he's going to break me. I'm at least going to get half my turn back off of it. With this setup, your breach will break first. There is something to be said for switching bounce and breach. But bounce is just a lot harder to use since it doesn't gain the instant property like breach does. So now you're limited to 500 damage per rotation. At this point, you're going to want to keep as much distance between you and him to try and make it so that he's less likely to use turn. If you start off far enough away, then you can make sure that you always get to go before him. Yeah, That should be fine. You can see there, I wanted to spam into turn because as soon as his is up, he will use it. See, that's pretty good. If he doesn't end up getting a break on me, I only need to do one more point blank. And then there we go. Spark. Full bounces. Also, don't worry about having to get out of turn with killing Royce. As long as you end up doing lethal to him, the phase or the fight will instantly end. So, overkill is completely fine because it'll stop you mid-combo. Royce will be one of your biggest time sinks early on. He's the most variable part of it. My GDQ run, he decided he wanted to be like a 4-minute fight instead of his normal 2 something. But persevere, and I'm sure you'll figure out a strategy that's better than mine. Also, team clockwise for the win. Just get on the blocks as fast as you can. This whole process takes like 30 seconds between this and then walking up to actually use the boyfriend. And if you are coming here for my GEQ run, time does not actually stop on when it fades to black. We just did that to get more plot, so that it didn't get cut off, so that people could, you know, get the whole story. Because we're dirty cheaters. But yeah. Professional streamer eating on stream. So yep. Get up to Mr. Nobody, click, and that's when you'll split. And that is Transistor Low %. I hope that this guide is helpful to somebody. If you have any other questions, hit me up at Twitch TV/FNUF, fhnnhf, or on the Transistor forums. I'm gonna try and, you know, keep my eye on them for anybody who does want to get into this run for anything that I missed. But yeah, good luck. It's a fun category. It's really great the way that it breaks the game in every possible exploit that we know so far. So, peace.